Imagine a world where you wake up every morning feeling energized, clear-headed, and ready to take on the day. A world where chronic diseases like diabetes, heart disease, and even cancer are rare, and people live long, healthy lives. This might sound like a fantasy, but it's a vision rooted in something called good energy, a state of optimal metabolic health that powers every cell in our body. It's not just about feeling good today. It's about preventing the illnesses that creep up on us tomorrow. And the surprising truth is, this isn't as complicated as it seems. Casey Means was at the top of her game. She'd graduated from Stanford Medical School, was a chief resident in head and neck surgery, and was on track for a prestigious career cutting into patients to fix their problems. But everything changed when her mother, Gail, got sick. Gail had always been the picture of health, vibrant, active, and full of life. She took daily hikes, ate what she thought was a decent diet, and kept up with her checkups. Yet in January 2021, at 71 years old, she felt a sharp pain in her belly during one of those hikes. A quick visit to the doctor revealed the unthinkable: stage 4 pancreatic cancer. 13 days later, she was gone. This wasn't just a random tragedy. Gail's story is a window into a bigger problem. For years, she'd been collecting diagnoses like badges of aging. After giving birth to Casey, who weighed a whopping 11 pounds, 9 ounces, she struggled to lose the baby weight. Her doctor brushed it off as normal. In her 40s, high blood pressure crept in, and she got a pill for that. In her 50s, high cholesterol showed up, earning her a statin prescription. By her 60s, prediabetes joined the list, and metformin was added to her daily routine. She was seeing 5 specialists, popping 5 medications, and yet everyone told her she was healthy compared to most people her age. But beneath the surface, something was brewing, something that all those pills couldn't stop. That something was metabolic dysfunction. It's a term that sounds technical, but it's really about how our cells turn food into energy. When that process goes haywire, it doesn't just show up as one problem, it ripples out into a cascade of issues. For Gail, it started with subtle signs: extra weight, rising blood pressure, wonky cholesterol, and creeping blood sugar levels. These weren't separate conditions to be managed with a pill for each. They were warning lights flashing from the same dashboard. Her metabolism was breaking down. And by the time pancreatic cancer hit, it was too late to fix the engine. What's wild is how common this story is. Think about your own family or friends. How many are juggling medications for blood pressure, cholesterol, or diabetes? How many seem fine on the outside but complain about fatigue or brain fog? These aren't just annoyances, they are clues. Metabolic dysfunction doesn't scream at you until it's serious. It whispers through things like a growing waistline or a sluggish afternoon. And if those whispers are ignored, they can turn into shouts like cancer or heart disease. So what's at the heart of this? It all comes down to tiny powerhouses inside our cells called mitochondria. Picture your body as a bustling city with trillions of factories churning out energy to keep the lights on. Those factories are your cells, and the mitochondria are the power plants inside them. They take the food you eat, carbs, fats, whatever, and turn it into a molecule called ATP. That's the fuel that runs everything: your heartbeat, your thoughts, your immune system. When mitochondria are humming along, you've got good energy. You feel alive, sharp, and resilient. But when they are struggling, you've got bad energy, and that's when trouble starts. Here's the kicker: our modern world is practically designed to mess with these mitochondria. Take food, for starters. 100 years ago, people ate what grew around them: whole stuff like vegetables, meat, and maybe some grains. Today, the average American downs over 150 pounds of sugar a year, much of it hidden in processed junk. That's like pouring syrup into a car engine and expecting it to run smoothly. Sugar floods your mitochondria, gumming up the works and sparking inflammation. Add in sedentary habits, sitting at desks or scrolling on phones all day, and chronic stress from endless notifications, and it's a recipe for cellular chaos. Gail's case shows how sneaky this can be. She wasn't scarfing down candy bars or couch potatoing all day. She hiked, she stayed active, she looked young for her age. But those subtle metabolic shifts, like insulin resistance from years of refined carbs or inflammation from a diet low in nutrients, built up quietly. Her doctors didn't connect the dots. They saw high blood pressure as a heart problem, prediabetes as an endocrine issue, and handed out pills like Band-Aids. By the time cancer showed up, the real culprit had been hiding in plain sight: bad energy. Now, let's zoom in on those mitochondria. They're not just passive little blobs. They're dynamic, constantly adapting to what you throw at them. Feed them a steady diet of processed foods, like those ultra-refined grains in white bread or the fructose in soda, and they start to sputter. Too much sugar overwhelms their machinery, producing free radicals that damage the cell from the inside. It's like rust in a pipe. Over time, that rust spreads and the whole system clogs up. That's when you get insulin resistance, where your cells stop listening to the hormone that's supposed to shuttle glucose inside. Blood sugar climbs, inflammation flares, and suddenly, you're on the road to diabetes or worse. But it's not just about sugar. Mitochondria need the right raw materials to thrive. Think of them like a high-performance engine that runs best on premium fuel. Nutrients like CoQ10, found in things like sardines or beef heart, keep their energy production smooth. Antioxidants from colorful veggies, like the isothiocyanates in broccoli, protect them from that rust. When Gail was eating her healthy diet, it might have included plenty of low-fat yogurt or whole-grain cereal, stuff marketed as good for you but loaded with hidden sugars and stripped of real nutrients. Her mitochondria were starving for the good stuff, even if she didn't know it. This isn't just a personal problem, it's a societal one. Look at kids today. 50 years ago, a pediatrician might have gone their whole career without seeing a case of fatty liver disease or prediabetes in a teenager. Now, nearly 30% of teens are prediabetic, and 18% have fatty livers. Why? They're growing up in a world of ultra-processed snacks, constant screen time, and barely any sleep. Their mitochondria never stood a chance. And it's not just physical, mental health is tanking too. Depression and anxiety in kids are soaring, and research shows a direct link to insulin resistance in the brain. Bad energy doesn't just hurt your body, it clouds your mind. So why aren't we catching this sooner? The healthcare system isn't built for it. Casey saw this up close during her years as a surgeon. She'd operate on patients with chronic sinusitis, puffy, inflamed nasal passages that wouldn't quit. Take Sophia, a 52-year-old woman who'd been battling sinus infections for years. She'd tried sprays, antibiotics, even steroids, but nothing worked. Casey went in with a camera and tools, breaking up swollen tissue just millimeters from her brain. It helped for a bit. But Sophia kept coming back. She was also overweight, prediabetic, hypertensive, and depressed. Different doctors, different pills, same revolving door. Standing over Sophia after surgery, Casey felt a pang of defeat. She'd fixed the symptom, but not the cause. All that inflammation wasn't random, it was a sign of deeper trouble. Sophia's mitochondria were crying out, underpowered by a lifetime of poor fuel and stress. But the system didn't care about that. It's set up to slice, medicate, and bill, not to dig into why the inflammation kept roaring back. In 5 years of residency, Casey never once learned what drives inflammation at its root. She was trained to stay in her lane, ears, nose, throat, and leave the rest to someone else. That's the trap of modern medicine. It's a machine of specialization. Heart doctors tweak your ticker, endocrinologists fiddle with your hormones, and oncologists fight your cancer. But nobody's looking at the whole picture. Gail saw 5 specialists, and none of them asked, why are all these issues popping up together? The answer was metabolic dysfunction, but the system isn't wired to see it. It's too busy profiting off the symptoms. $65 billion a year on statins alone, billions more on procedures. Prevention, lifestyle fixes, those don't pay the bills. Here's a jaw-dropper. Despite spending more on healthcare than ever, trillions of dollars, life expectancy in the U.S. has been dropping since 2014. It's the longest decline since the Civil War. Meanwhile, chronic diseases are exploding. 6 out of 10 adults have at least one, 74% are overweight or obese. Cancer, heart disease, diabetes, they're all climbing, even as we pour money into treatments. Why? Because we're not fixing the root. We're mopping the floor during a flood instead of turning off the tap. But it doesn't have to be this way. Casey walked away from surgery because she saw a better path. After quitting, she opened a small practice in Portland, focusing on the foundation, cellular health. Patients came in with laundry lists of problems: weight gain, fatigue, pain, high cholesterol. Instead of adding more drugs, she stripped things back. She helped them ditch processed foods, move more, sleep better, and cut stress. The results were stunning. Stubborn issues melted away, medications dropped off, and people felt alive again. It wasn't rocket science, it was giving their mitochondria what they needed. Take Lucy, a 45-year-old who'd been wrestling with obesity, fatigue, and depression. She tried every diet, every pill, and still felt stuck. But when she cut out the junk, swapping sugary cereals for eggs and veggies, walking after meals, hitting the sack earlier, her body responded. In 6 months, she dropped 30 pounds, her energy skyrocketed, and her mood lifted. Her mitochondria weren't drowning anymore, they were thriving. That's good energy in action. So how do you get there? It starts with food. Ditch the ultra-processed stuff, those crackers, sodas, and frozen dinners that make up 60% of the American diet. They're engineered to hook you, spiking your blood sugar and leaving your mitochondria gasping. Instead, go for whole foods that fuel them right. Think colorful veggies packed with antioxidants: broccoli, spinach, beets. Add in healthy fats like olive oil or avocado to keep things steady. Toss in some protein, eggs, fish, nuts to build and repair. It's not about starving yourself, it's about feeding your cells what they crave. Here's a simple trick. Start your meal with a handful of veggies or a small salad. It slows down the sugar rush from carbs, keeping your mitochondria happy. Pair that with a drizzle of olive oil or a few nuts, and you've got a steady burn instead of a crash. Casey saw this work wonders with patients like Emily, a 32-year-old who couldn't shake weight gain and tiredness. Using a continuous glucose monitor, a little device that tracks blood sugar in real time, Emily found that healthy oatmeal spiked her levels like crazy. She swapped it for eggs and avocado, and boom, stable sugar, shed pounds, renewed pep. Movement matters too. You don't need a gym membership, just move more. Walking after meals cuts glucose spikes by 20%. It's like a free tune-up for your mitochondria. Casey's patients started small, a stroll around the block, taking stairs instead of elevators. One guy, a desk jockey with prediabetes, added a standing desk and short walks. In 3 months, his blood sugar normalized and he ditched his meds. Mitochondria love motion. It revs them up, clears out the rust, and pumps out more ATP. Sleep's another biggie. Skimp on it and your mitochondria suffer. Ever notice how a bad night leaves you craving junk? That's your body scrambling for quick energy because your cells are tapped out. Aim for 7 to 8 hours, same time every night. One patient, a stressed-out mom, fixed her sleep schedule and watched her fatigue vanish. Her blood sugar steadied too. Sleep's a metabolic reset button. Stress is the silent killer here. It floods your system with cortisol, gunking up your mitochondria and spiking your sugar. Casey's trick, 10 minutes of meditation a day. It's not woo-woo, it's science. Studies show it lowers inflammation and steadies your nerves. Pair that with a walk in nature and you're golden. One patient, a burned-out exec, started meditating by a park lake. His blood pressure dropped, his mood lifted, and his energy returned. Simple, but powerful. Technology can help too. Those continuous glucose monitors, they're game changers. You see exactly how your body reacts to food or stress, no guesswork. Emily's oatmeal revelation came from one. Another patient, a guy with a beer habit, saw his sugar soar after a night out. He cut back and his numbers thanked him. Track your waist size, blood pressure, cholesterol too. Basic markers that tell you if your mitochondria are thriving or tanking. This isn't about perfection, it's about small shifts. Swap soda for water with a splash of lemon, walk instead of scroll, sleep instead of binge watch. Every choice either feeds good energy or starves it. Gail didn't get that chance. Her doctors never told her the dots connected. But you can. Imagine feeling vibrant at 71, not sidelined by pills or diagnoses. That's the promise of good energy. What's crazy is how universal this is. Animals in the wild don't get obese or diabetic. Lions and giraffes don't need statins. Why? Their environment matches their biology. Ours doesn't. We've built a world of fake food, endless sitting, and artificial light that scrambles our cells. But we can fight back. Every bite of real food, every step, every deep breath is a vote for your mitochondria. Here's a wild stat. 80% of modern deaths tie back to preventable lifestyle conditions. That's not fate, that's choice. Casey's mom didn't have to die so soon. Sophia didn't have to keep suffering. Lucy and Emily didn't have to stay stuck. They all turned it around by focusing on one thing, powering their cells right. And it's not just about dodging disease, it's about feeling incredible now. Clear mind, steady energy, no crashes. So picture this, a life where you're not just surviving, but thriving. Where your body hums with energy because you've given it what it needs. Real food, movement, rest, peace. It's not a fantasy, it's biology. By understanding and nurturing your mitochondria, you can break free from the symptom-chasing cycle and unlock a vitality most people only dream of. It's in your hands, starting today. What'll your next choice be?